Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus channel. To ensure optimal performance under real-world conditions, the Boeing 747-8 undergoes rigorous testing, including operations in extreme environments. Among the most demanding are the extreme takeoff tests, which are split into two key categories. The first is the Velocity Minimum Unstick, or VMU test, designed to determine the lowest possible speed at which the aircraft can safely lift off. During this test, the aircraft's tail is intentionally brought into contact with the runway just before takeoff, simulating a critical edge case and providing valuable safety data. The second is the maximum weight takeoff test, where the 747-8 freighter is loaded to its upper structural limit, approximately 1.5 million pounds. This test evaluates the aircraft's performance under full payload conditions, ensuring it can operate safely and efficiently even at maximum capacity. In addition to evaluating takeoff performance, the company must account for potential in-flight emergencies that may arise during departure, specifically the need to abort takeoff. To address this, rejected takeoff or RTO tests are conducted to validate the aircraft's safety and performance under high-stress emergency conditions. For this procedure, the evaluation team outfits the 747-8 freighter with a set of brakes worn down to their full operational limit. The aircraft is then fueled and loaded to its maximum takeoff weight, exceeding 975,000 pounds. During the test, the aircraft accelerates to approximately 200 miles per hour before the pilot initiates an emergency stop by applying maximum braking force. As the aircraft decelerates rapidly, the team closely monitors critical data, including brake heat dissipation, wheel stability, and overall aircraft control.
Yeah, flank it out. So we'll do an alley like that way, and I'll go that way, boom, and I'll go back to you. So that way we'll just spread out and then just land all that way all the way forward.
This test ensures that even in extreme conditions, the aircraft can be brought to a safe stop, protecting both the aircraft and its crew. The landing gear structure of aircraft plays a large role in its performance on the ground when taking off and landing. While producing landing gear can be a costly endeavor, there are companies and manufacturers that repair and rebuild these highly critical components. Safran has a repair and refurbishment facility to restore old landing gears back to their original condition. This process involves 4 steps. The first starts with disassembling the landing gear, where each part is broken down to its smallest components. Their protective coating is removed, and then these parts are cleaned thoroughly. The second step involves inspecting each component using laser measuring systems to check if any part is damaged. This leads us to the third step, in which the parts are refurbished to improve their quality, and protective coatings are reapplied. The last step involves reassembling the landing gear for shipment back to the customer. Embraer is a company that specializes in restoring damaged parts of landing gear. The landing gear is received in boxes at the facility. After documentation of every part, the landing gear goes to the technicians, who disassemble it for inspection. The technicians remove the coatings on every part to visually inspect for deformities. Embraer has a separate manufacturer and maintenance shop to perform overhaul tasks on the landing gears of the Phenom 100 and Phenom 300 aircraft. This facility has almost 600 employees, out of which 200 are dedicated to maintenance tasks. After receiving the shipment, the crew documents every part of the landing gear to ensure all components and subcomponents are traceable. The landing gear is completely disassembled, the paint is removed, and the parts are sent to the non-destructive inspection area, where the technicians detect any damage or corrosion that occurs during inspection. The engineering team performs the repairs and applies different coatings on each subcomponent. The technicians apply paints on these components, which act as an extra layer of protection during operations. The parts are reassembled and subjected to several functional tests that simulate the operation of the landing gear. Finally, the landing gear is packed in boxes and sent back to the customer. Maintaining and testing landing gear underscores the importance of regular maintenance and ensuring safe landings. These maintenance procedures require utmost care and attention, not only to enhance the performance and longevity of the landing gear, but also to contribute significantly to aviation safety. While commercial aircraft have the luxury of landing on long, smooth runways, U.S. Navy fighter pilots don't have such luxuries. Among the most daunting tests in naval aviation is the art of landing fighter jets on the deck of an aircraft carrier. Arrested landings are a critical aspect of aircraft carrier operations. They ensure the safe recovery of fighter jets on the deck. On the USS Theodore Roosevelt, the crew prepares the deck for an incoming plane. Sailors work synchronously, wearing bright green jerseys to let everyone know their essential role. They carefully inspect the arresting gear, which includes cables, engines, and hydraulic systems, ensuring they are in perfect condition to withstand the immense forces generated during landing. Arrested landings are commonly done on catabar and stowbar aircraft carriers. Catabar stands for Catapult-Assisted Takeoff but Arrested Recovery. And stowbar is the acronym for Short Takeoff but Arrested Recovery. There are also similar arrested landing systems at land-based airfields for emergency use. Typical systems consist of several steel wire ropes laid across the aircraft landing area, designed to be caught by an aircraft's tail hook. During a normal arrestment, the tailhook engages the wire and the aircraft's kinetic energy is transferred to hydraulic damping systems attached below the carrier deck. The careful coordination of getting the cables prepared as the plane makes its descent, and then making sure they're removed from the plane as it taxis to parking, is all thanks to the sailors working in the aircraft carrier's island and bubble. The island is the nerve center of the ship, housing the carrier's command facilities, control rooms, and communications infrastructure.
White settings on.
Carrier strike room 10. Thank you, sir. Ready.
The bubble is stationed in the carrier flight deck, protected by plexiglass and steel. This is where sailors can provide communication about what's happening during each aircraft launch and recovery. As a fighter jet hurtles towards the deck of an aircraft carrier, the pilot's expertise and nerves of steel are put to the ultimate test. The aircraft approaches the landing area with tremendous speed. In a split second, the pilot must engage the tailhook, the small metal apparatus suspended beneath the aircraft, while maintaining an absolute focus on the arresting wires ahead. Arrested landings embody the extraordinary partnership between pilots, carrier crews, and cutting-edge engineering. The combination of technology, human skill, and sheer determination unfolds in a moment as the aircraft screeches to a halt, its engines roaring and the arresting wires shaking under strain. If all goes according to plan, the tailhook catches one of the cables, subjecting the aircraft to intense deceleration forces. When an arresting cable becomes damaged or worn, prompt repairs are essential to ensure that more planes can be landed safely. The first step in cable repair is an inspection to learn the extent of the damage. Trained technicians look for signs of wear, fraying, or other forms of degradation. This inspection involves a visual exam, stress tests, and measurement of the cable's dimensions. Once the damaged sections of the cable are identified, the repair process begins. Repairing an arresting gear cable involves removing the damaged portion and splicing it into a new section. Splicing involves stripping insulation, cleaning the surfaces, and ensuring proper alignment. Personnel involved in cable repair wear plenty of protective equipment. Once the new section of cable is in, it must be secured and capable of withstanding the high forces and stresses encountered during arrested landings. That's why it undergoes rigorous testing to verify its integrity and strength. Load tests may be performed to simulate the forces experienced during landing and ensure the repaired cable can safely handle these forces without snapping. And snapping can be incredibly dangerous. That's why, throughout this process, crews adhere to strict safety measures. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.